You must have seen the new Dalaran cinematic by now, where Khadgar casts the most powerful spell in his arsenal at Xal'atath, and she just eats it like nothing. Keep in mind, Khadgar is not just one of the most powerful mages on all of Azeroth, but also one of the most powerful mortals. Now, we know Xal'atath is something beyond even the old gods, but what exactly is giving her these superpowers in the Void Elf form? Even more interestingly, not only did this spell not damage her, but she's actually absorbing everything to later use it to awaken Azeroth, which means she literally cannot be fought in regular combat. So what is going on? If you guys want to buy Total War, Elder Scrolls, or any other game, you can get them at great prices with my Gamivo link. You can also get anything Warcraft related, gift cards and software, and all below market prices. Best of all, if you add my code DORON, you can get an even bigger discount, so make sure to check out my link in the description and get some amazing deals with Gamivo. Khadgar is not your average mage, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand that this guy is one of the most powerful mortals on all of Azeroth, and that is stated outright by Blizzard in the books as he's one of the most powerful magi in all of history. This guy was a student of Medivh that ultimately stood toe-to-toe with Medivh while he was empowered by Sargeras. He fought on Outland, he fought Alternate Universe Archimond. We had seen him casting some insanely powerful spells that could literally shatter entire buildings. Most importantly though, he is wielding Athesh, the Staff of Medivh, the Staff of the Guardian, that at the moment is one of the most powerful weapons used on all of Azeroth, and you can imagine that Athesh casts some insanely powerful spells. However, most importantly, all of you might remember that old Legion cinematic where Khadgar had essentially used this exact same spell he had used now in the new cinematic, where he entirely obliterated Anatrazim, that are one of the most powerful beings in the whole universe. I mean, sure, they might not be powerful by brute force, but a full-on powerful Dreadlord is a foe barely anyone on Azeroth could defeat outright, and Khadgar just blasted him like nothing. So naturally, this brings us to the brand new cinematic where Khadgar casts the exact same spell through Athesh, and Xal'atath just eats it for breakfast and smirks at the end, which brings a little flashback of Sylvanas being incredibly overpowered in that duel against Varrock Saurfang, meaning we're not fighting just her. So what exactly is going on? We know Xal'atath is this insanely powerful void weapon of Dimensias, older than the old gods, but what could possibly make her so powerful in her void elf form, and what exactly can we even do against such power where Khadgar himself couldn't even touch her? Well, this brings us to the entire plan, and just a quick warning, I will feature a few spoilers for Khadgar and Dalaran, as you already kinda know what is going on from the beta and some of the data mined items. I mentioned this previously when I've analyzed the Threads of Destiny short where Xal'atath is recruiting the Nerubians, and as I said then, Xal'atath is not interested in fighting us. Remember, she was in our dagger, she saw everything we personally did, from the battle against the Legion to N'Zoth, and she has essentially built a way to counter us. Xal'atath, even in the new short, is clearly recruiting the Nerubians in order to get the old god blood to complete her awakening of Azeroth. She doesn't care one bit for the Nerubian army, nor is she doing this entire bargain to get some empowered Nerubian army that will put an end to us. She knows we had defeated the Lich King, we had defeated the Legion, we had defeated Deathwing, we had defeated the old god forces, and that something like this, like some big new army, just doesn't work against us, which is actually amazing, as this is the first time in WoW where the story isn't predictable and we're not fighting yet another world-ending threat that will just end up as the final boss of the final raid. As we can see from the World Soul Saga logos, it's almost certain that she is actually going to win. The War Within logo shows the continents breaking, the Midnight logo doesn't have any continents, it's just one giant void portal, and we know a void invasion happens, so what she is doing is exactly right. If a WoW villain just needed a cheat sheet, he would just have to follow Xal'atath's steps. But let's bring this back to the duel. So some slight spoilers, as all this will actually be revealed in a few days, but what we had learned is that Xal'atath, the Harbinger, infiltrates Dalaran to a member of the Council of Six, and this cinematic is very likely just at the end of that realization before Dalaran is actually destroyed. I don't think Blizzard made this very clear, but the real reason Xal'atath is so powerful in the cinematic is the Dark Heart artifact she took from Deathwing's laboratory in Dragonflight. Dark Heart, by all accounts, is a proto-dragon sword. To put it in the simplest terms possible, it's one very powerful magic container. The dragon soul that we know was supposed to gather all the essence of the dragon aspects in order to combine their magics for Deathwing. The Dark Heart was an early version, and with all the void teams from that lab, it might have been an attempt of Deathwing to siphon void energies and old god powers, but he never ended up using it. Now, in the cinematic itself, when Khadgar confronts her, you can see she's empty-handed, but after she eats that spell, you can then see her holding the Dark Heart in her hand, which means that she literally absorbed his powers. And with this artifact, I'm not really certain what we can do to her. You can notice this in the dialogue as well. She taunts Khadgar by saying that Dalaran is home to such power and that she can put it to much better use, which implies that the reason she came here was in fact to gather this power. The prophecy states that she wants to awaken Azeroth, so looks like all those little missions that Xal'atath is doing is just essentially leveling up her artifact so that she can turn Azeroth into a void being, which is the ultimate prophecy. So essentially Xal'atath is just doing dailies that we cannot see. First, she took the actual artifact through Iridikron, then got the power from Galakrond, which was an insane power source in the past. Then she went to Northern to Ulduar in the Harbinger questline. We still don't really know what exactly she did. Now, she took the power of Dalaran and she's going to Khadgar to work on the ritual through old god blood. What is really interesting is that this Dark Heart artifact is something really hard to fight, because the more you fight it, the stronger it becomes. You can see Khadgar is visibly exhausted by casting that monster of a spell, but not only did it not touch Xal'atath, but it literally made her more powerful, which is an extremely overpowered weapon when you think about it. This means that we're never going to be able to fight her in open combat like this while she has the artifact, because she will only get stronger with everything we throw at her. This is the main reason why she always has that little smirk on her face and why she's constantly baiting us, because she knows we will only help her plans if we use brute force. Now, some spoilers here, but Dalaran ultimately does get destroyed. It crashes as her Nerubian army brings it down to the shores of Khadgar. You might have already heard about this, but there is a big rumor that Khadgar dies. We take a moment for Khadgar and later he is mentioned. However, something crazy was recently datamined in the beta, which could mean that Khadgar might not actually be dead. Recently, some people have datamined a wheelchair attached to the name Archmage Khadgar that could indicate that he's only going to be disabled and might still live, although it is way too early to predict anything accurately right now. Regardless, Xal'atath is a villain unlike any we had ever faced or seen before. She is a villain that fought together with us. She was literally in our blade. She learned through thousands of years of Azeroth's history. She knows that not even the strongest armies or empires can stop us and defeat Azeroth, so she started doing it from within. We had already seen pretty much the entire questline of 11.0. We know we never really fight her. She's constantly multiple steps ahead, and I feel like even when we do fight her, it will go in her favor, as she's just going to absorb our powers into her Dark Heart artifact. She's essentially doing what the Lich King originally wanted to do. You might remember back in Wrath, Arthas knew that we were the strongest champions of Azeroth, so his goal was to bait us to Icecrown in order to get us to become his Death Knights. He was actually almost successful because he did kill us and he almost managed to do it. Well, Xal'atath is doing something akin to this, but in even more intelligent way. She doesn't exactly want to convert us, but she might want to bait us to fight her just like Khadgar, so she can make her little weapon stronger, that ultimately, when combined with the old god blood from Khadgar, that is very likely from the 5th old god, she's going to be able to complete the prophecy. So at this point in time, I really don't see what we can do to stop her, and based on the expansion timelines, we might not stop her at all. As I said, this is a villain unlike any we had seen before, an enemy that you can't even see. Thanks for watching. Check out what would happen if Arthas never turned evil by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on ancient training by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.